You know exactly what you want to say. You can feel it. Somewhere in your chest, there's a clear, specific thing, a feeling, a thought, something you genuinely need the other person to understand. And then you open your mouth, and something slightly different comes out. A watered-down version. A safer version. Sometimes almost the opposite of what you actually meant. And the moment the conversation ends, the real words finally arrive. Perfectly formed, completely useless. 3 hours too late. If that's ever been you, this video is going to explain exactly what's happening inside your brain. Think about watching a film in a language you only partially understand. You catch the emotion. You understand the general meaning, but some of it gets lost in the gap between what was said and what reached you. That's what happens between your feelings and your words every single time. In 1972, Harvard psychiatrist Peter Sifneos discovered something that changed how we understand emotional communication. He identified a trait he called Alexithymia, which literally translates from Greek as no words for feelings. People with this trait can have difficulty identifying and describing their own emotions. They may understand that they're feeling something strongly, but struggle to translate that feeling into words. Now here's the part that matters for you, because you might be thinking, that sounds like a disorder. That's not me. Alexithymia exists on a spectrum, and at some level, in some situations, almost everyone experiences it. The feeling is clear. The language for it isn't there, and in the gap between the two, you say something approximating what you meant and hope the other person fills in the rest. They almost never do, because they can't see what you didn't say. Here's the second layer, and this one is harder to hear. Sometimes you know exactly what you want to say, the words are there, the sentence is formed, and you still don't say it. Not because you can't find the words, because saying the real thing feels genuinely dangerous. Think about a museum display case. The most valuable things, the fragile things, the things that matter most, go behind glass. Not because they're hidden, because they're protected. You can see them clearly, but you can't touch them. That's what most people do with their most honest thoughts and feelings. They put them behind glass, visible to themselves, out of reach for everyone else. Brené Brown, a research professor at the University of Houston, who spent over a decade studying this, found that what stops people from saying what they mean is almost always shame. Specifically, the fear that if the other person truly understood what you felt, you would no longer be worthy of connection. In plain terms, saying the real thing makes you vulnerable, and your brain has learned, probably over years, that vulnerable is dangerous. So instead, you say the approximation, the edited version, the thing that's close enough to feel like communication, but safe enough to survive rejection. And both people leave the conversation having technically talked, but neither of them having actually said anything. Imagine sending a letter to the wrong address. You wrote the letter, you sealed it, you sent it, and it arrives. Just not where it was supposed to go. The effort was real. The intention was real. The letter just never reached the person it was meant for. Every conversation where you say the edited version instead of the real one is a letter sent to the wrong address. The other person receives something. They respond to something. But the actual thing, the feeling you needed them to understand, is still sitting inside you. Undelivered, building up. Brené Brown's research found that vulnerability is the birthplace of genuine connection, and that choosing safety over honesty doesn't necessarily protect us from disconnection. Sometimes it creates it. The gap between what you feel and what you say isn't always a communication problem. Sometimes it's a trust problem. And the only thing that closes that gap, slowly, imperfectly, in small moments, is the decision to send the letter to the right address, even when you're not sure it'll arrive.